Hello and welcome back to Sweet Sycamore podcast. I promised some relationship pieces here in the beginning of February, and I brought in the relationship expert,
Yes.
my husband, to kind of talk about relationships and marriage. And even if you're not married, I think that there's something you can take out of this on how to do relationships, or maybe you'll learn something from us of not what to do in relationships. I don't know. But I thought we'd start with our story.
Yeah.
And how you madly fell in love with me.
Yeah, madly fall in love with her in third grade. So we moved to Indiana. So we both lived in Indiana, right? I lived there about 9 years. You lived your whole life. That was your whole life there. So I moved with my dad. We moved there to Indiana. He was a professor at Ball State University, and then we ended up going to the same church.
We did.
That's when we first met.
Our parents were youth pastors together. Mm-hmm. So our parents had a blast hanging out, and that was a lot of fun. But we always, because our parents hung out all the time together, we ended up hanging out all the time together.
Yep.
And so I was...
You would even do homework at our table.
I was homeschooled. Well, you had a younger...
Some of the time.
Yeah. He had a younger brother.
Yes.
And so your younger brother was the same age as me?
I think so.
I think he's
the same age.
He's 2 years older than me. He's way more mature.
So much mature.
And older. But when you're in third grade, you are. Like, it really feels like you are. And so Gabriel, your younger brother, and I would just cause a lot of problems, and we would have a lot of fun. I always joke that I have this memory of, like, sneaking around the kitchen with Gabriel to get into the pantry at your mom and dad's house, and, like, you waiting there and being like, Mom! Nikki and Gabriel are in the pantry again. And
she always says I was a tattletale. I wasn't always a tattletale. Let's point that out. But she remembers me being a tattletale.
Yes. But then your family moved from California, and it was really sad because we were so close.
Yeah. In 1997, we moved to California. And at that time, in 97, there's no Facebook. There's no any social media. It's just pretty much a landline you call. And then we just kind of lost track and, went our separate ways at that point.
Yeah, I remember, in fact, I actually kept it, which is remarkable that I kept this. But when I graduated from high school, your mom sent me a graduation card. Mm-hmm. And, through life had happened. And Gabriel
my younger brother, he passed away. He had a congenital problem medically, and then he ended up dying. And that ended up getting us back in touch a little bit. So.
Yeah, I wrote some letters back and forth because I loved Gabriel and I loved you guys. And so it was one of those, I remember thinking, like, I'm going to fly out to California for his funeral, like, because that's how much Gabriel meant to me. And obviously I'm in high school at the time, and going to California from Indiana, I felt like, no, you just don't travel we didn't travel anywhere anyway, let alone by yourself. And so it was like out of the question. But I remember thinking about it. I always think, like, what would have happened if I did that?
I know. What would happen?
We would have fell madly in love and got married a lot sooner, but that didn't happen. But yeah, I have a card from your mom, and I still have it. I found it in my memory box. But so a lot of time went by, and then we fast forward to...
I was in residency, so I was a physician going into the residency, or about to. I was finishing up med school, actually. I was in Bakersfield at the time. And then
now,
one of our mom and dad's close friend passed away.
Yes, and through this process, now we're talking, like, when we fast forward, I am now 26 years old, 27 years old. Yes. You're 2 years older, whichever old I was, something like that. And I had, graduated from college. I had worked in Florida for a while. I felt like God was calling me to LA to get my master's. I had every intention of going to LA, getting my master's, and then going back to Florida, where my whole family had eventually moved from Indiana. And I was like, this is it. This is just a temporary layover. Like, this is what God's calling me to do. And then my mom, I remember I was shopping at Ross. I was in the purse aisle, and my mom called me.
She never shops, so.
But I remember what I was even looking at, because that's how my brain, it goes back based on shopping and experiences. And I was in the purse aisle, and my mom's like, "Oh, Nikki, did you know?" Like, I just connected with Darlene. They had a mutual friend pass away. They had reconnected through the funeral. And then she said, "Did you know that Johnny is in Bakersfield and you are in LA? Like, you're so close."
So close.
And I was like, she's like, so just so you know, I gave Darlene your number and she's going to give it to Johnny. And I mean, you guys, if you know him, you call him John, but we always knew him by Johnny because I grew up with him, right? That's why I've always called him Johnny. People are like, why do you call him Johnny? Because we're babies together. Anyway. And so before I even left the store, you had texted me.
I did. At one point, I text you. So point that out because later in the story it might come back.
Okay, yeah. So he did. He texted me. And he's like, hey, you want to, have a phone call? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, it's Johnny. Like,
yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. So we talked that night, I think.
Yeah.
You know how I knew that you might be interested in me more than just friends?
Yes.
Because you said.
I said, how tall are you?
No, you said, exactly. How tall are you?
Yeah.
Luckily, I passed the test because I'm short. But I was like, oh. And so then he's like, do you want to meet up at Six Flags? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But I'm like, oh, what if he likes me and I don't like him? I know this is like, can we just talk about the fact that I may have been a little vain in that moment? But I was like, oh no, what if he likes me and I don't like him? Because had some experiences before where I felt like I had hurt down some very amazing friends. I was like, I don't know. So we go to Six Flags. And I am not kidding you. I fell in love with you at Six Flags. And I was like, I'm done. Like, this is it. I remember talking to my mom the next day and saying, I think I could be Nikki Dicky. And she was like astonished because I was like not interested in any guy in a serious way for a long time just because of,
That says something. You're going to be Nikki Dicky.
I was like, right? And my mom was like, what? Like, you're thinking about this after one date? But I was sold. But here's the problem. I don't think he was. So here the opposite happened.
This is not true, but keep going.
And I'm like, I have fallen head over heels for him, like in way more of a friendship way. And then he doesn't call or text me.
So I am praying.
He says.
No, wait a minute here. I am praying and I am seeking the Lord about what should I do? I want to make sure this is a right relationship too. And then, of course,
I just jump in. I'm like, we're done. Why do we need to pray? I feel like this is how our relationship goes. He's going to stop and pray about it for a long period of time. I feel it. We're done. God said, like, no, we don't need to pray. Like, okay. Yep. And this is how our relationship has been ever since. Yeah. So I text you.
Something about some...
I was watching Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, Grey's Anatomy.
I wasn't even watching it. I never watched it. My roommates in Pasadena were watching it. And I was like, oh, you'd like this show? It has a lot of blood and medical stuff.
And I text her back. And
you did. And then I'm like, bah, 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 bah. Like, and then the romance ensued.
Oh, yes, of course. And then I think... that was 8 months later we got married?
Took forever.
Forever. She always says forever.
Took you forever.
Yes.
Forever. And
that's how she rolls though.
Now, I want it once I know we don't need to talk about it anymore. Let's just go to the altar and get married.
Right. Let's just do it. Why not?
So yeah, I think we re-met at Six Flags in September.
Yeah.
You proposed in January.
Yeah, got married in May, right?
Yep.
That's pretty fast. But I knew her for a long time already.
We always tell our kids, you're not allowed to do that. We knew each other when we were kids.
Don't do that unless you knew someone for a very long time like we did. So.
And now we've been married.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Was it 16 years?
Yeah, in May.
16
years in May. We will be married.
Yeah.
And so I figure we have a little bit of experience that we can talk about.
We want to talk about submission. That's what she wanted me to talk about. So, okay.
You have some things to say about this, and this is good. Here's why I want to talk about submission. Because I never thought I could do that whole thing of submission. I mean, I have to be honest. Because I am very type A. Like, I get things done. And this whole idea of going into this thing of marriage where you just, like, submit under a man who tells you to move left or right or do or don't. Like, I just struggled with that because I thought, I just don't know if that's for me. I have opinions and
you? No.
I like to be heard and I like to talk, surprisingly. And so I thought, I just don't know if this is for me. And just to be honest. And then I think you actually taught me a lot about submission. And I think I had this what word is that, contorted? Yeah. I had this weird view of what submission was. And I think you really modeled for me what submission is supposed to be. And I think because of that, I love submission now. Like something that I thought I always thought, yeah, no, like not for me, is now something that I truly understand God's plan, and it actually benefits me instead of hurts me.
I think where you really see it first, Christ modeled submission, right? He literally modeled being humble and being the leader. If you're a leader, it's not by domineering. It's not being, I'm the head boss, you have to listen to me. That's the exact opposite of how Jesus led. He led by being a servant. He led by submitting to others. At the Last Supper, what did he do? He took his outer garments off, literally wrapped himself in a towel, and was wiping feet. That's what a servant would do. But that was considered leader. The last shall be first, the first shall be last. That God's idea of leadership is upside down. That's what the world thinks. So first of all is that. He models submission. And second of all, submission is not just for the women, it's for the men. It's for the men and the women together. If you submit to the Lord and then submit to the other person that's in the relationship, it becomes very easy to be the other person submitting to you as well. And it's a mutual submission. First to the Lord, which is what we always give our whole relationship to the Lord, and we give our kids and everything to the Lord, and then we submit to each other. It makes it very easy because you want to submit and you want to have a humility like Christ had. So, yeah.
Doesn't that sound so much better? I always think about it like submission, we always think that it's from the top down, and we view it as like this almost domineering type thing. Like, but the way that you have modeled submission for me is more of an encouraging thing. Like, you need to step into this because this is what God has for you, and I'm going to support you in this, and I'm going to wrap you up in this. And even like doing like speaking more and all this, like you are the one that said, hey, if you don't obey God in this area, then you're actually, I know you're being partially obedient, but you're actually being disobedient. So how can I support you and make this happen as a family? And I thought, oh, like that, now I have to step out and be submitted to my husband, who is literally listening to God for me. And those are the beautiful ways of submission. And it gives us an avenue for me to like pray over you, but you to pray over me. And I think that's a thing. Like I hear a lot of women who crave their husband to step up. Like, I wish my husband would lead in a spiritual sense. Now, I'll be honest, like, I know how blessed I am with you. I mean, even when we were, and I don't take it for granted. Like, when we were middle schoolers, okay, like, he would bring this Bible that was like this big, and you would be like trucking around the middle school. Like, we didn't have Bibles on our phone. We didn't even have a phone.
No,
but like, you would hold that Bible everywhere you went in middle school. I'd pass you in the aisles because I was homeschooled, but then I went to school, and you'd like, hey, come sit with me. And we would do Bible studies in the little Delta middle school library. And sometimes it was just you and I sitting there.
Sometimes it was.
We were like on a date. We didn't even know it. But like, I just remember like you really served people. And I think that's a beautiful part of your personality. But I do think that there's a lot of women who like I was going to say, like, you're very strong in your biblical values, but there's a lot of women that wish their men, would step up and be strong like Christian leaders in their home. And I think one of the ways as women we can do that, instead of trying to, well, they're not going to be the leader, I'm going to be the leader. And again, we step into that leadership role where we think we have to boss them around or tell them what to do, that actually even us, if you want your husband to be the leader, start being the leader that Jesus was. Serve him.
Yeah.
Like,
true leadership is servant. It's servant leadership. And
absolutely.
If you want your husband to step up, you serve your husband, and you pray for your husband, and you put them above your own self, and you'll watch to see the response from your husband. And will respond to that.
Yeah,
they will, and it's a natural for a husband to want to lead. Men are built to want to lead.
Yeah.
But sometimes in today's society, it's like looked down upon. You can't do that. Woman can't lead. You can't lead. But that's the thing. Leading doesn't mean bringing down the other person, or you are better than the other person like the world thinks. Leading means being like Christ, and being like Christ means serving.
Yeah.
You are a servant. If you're not a servant, you're not leading, because that's how Christ pictured it. And so if I'm not serving you and encouraging you and lifting you toward Jesus, then that's what you should, as a wife. The wife should be doing the same thing back, is serving her husband, pushing them toward Christ and guiding them and lifting up in prayer and being that person who does that. If you both are doing that, you will see. If one's not doing it, one is doing it, the other one will respond.
Mm-hmm.
God will reach into that relationship as long as you guys have Jesus as the center. That's the key. So,
what would you say to a woman who has a husband who doesn't have Jesus as the center of their life? Like, he's not a believer. Like, how do you push him towards Jesus without? Do you have any advice on that?
Well, in the scripture, it's interesting. It even says that if you're married to an unbeliever, that there's some saving value into that relationship by being Christ to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think if you truly model that love for that person and you are bathing them in prayer and you are lifting them up and really putting them and serving them with all your heart, I do think that God will intervene in that relationship.
We've seen it happen.
I've seen it so many times, so many relationships where the wife's a Christian, the guy is not a Christian, and she's just praying and praying, and she's serving and really serving him and really loving him like Christ, and you'll see that guy respond, and eventually that guy gets saved. We see that a lot. So I do think, don't give up hope. I know it's very discouraging. It's hard when your husband's not saved, but if you really love them like Christ and bathe them in prayer, put Christ at the center of everything, you will see God will intervene. It's God's work.
And I was thinking about like this thing of submission, because I do think there's times when like I know that I'm called to submit to you. So if you said, hey, this is what God has for our family, and I've prayed about it and I've bathed it in prayer, I spent time with it. It's not like me where I'm like, I feel it, let's just go. You don't operate like that. So maybe I don't feel it, but I trust your relationship with the Lord, and I trust the way that you're connecting with the Lord. And I know that my response would need to be, okay, I'm going to follow. And I do think there's, I think that if you don't trust God, it's going to be hard, obviously, for you to trust your spouse who's connecting with the Lord. And so I think that one of the things that I always challenge women to is, if you're having trouble, if you have a man who's godly and you're having trouble, if he says something and he's really prayed about it and you're like, I don't know. I always tell him first, like, if you need, God does call us sometimes to lay down our own wills and to support him. And maybe it's like you're going in the wrong direction. But maybe that's where maybe you're not. And maybe that's through prayer. I can either pray, God, change his mind, or change his will, or change my will, or change my mind. And maybe if we're going to walk in the wrong direction together, Lord, just protect us as we do, because we think we're both trying to be obedient, as I try to submit to my husband tries to submit to you. And I think that there's something God honoring in that too.
Let's put it, you can't mess up God's plan.
No.
And no matter how much we think that, if we go this way, we're going to mess it up, or God is bigger than all that. We think God's so small that he can't figure out a way to adjust when we make a detour that's not the exact way, but he always ends up in the same place.
He honors the heart, too.
The heart is the issue. That's what he wants. He wants the heart.
Yeah.
And just get moving. I always say, you can't steer a parked car. Get moving, and God will steer you. And maybe you'll go a little bit of wrong direction, but he'll steer you right back. He'll figure that out. So ultimately, it's about submitting first to God. And if the guy or the woman really has a strong feeling about something and really feel like they're submitting to the Lord, and you don't quite sense it, first of all, as in a relationship, I think we both should. If your spouse is not feeling it, you really need to go back to the Lord. I would go back to the Lord, like, am I really hearing from the Lord? Because that's something. But I came back, and I don't think this happened very often at all.
I was trying to think of one. I was trying to think of an example.
But if it did, it would happen.
But we have a plan.
We would say basically trust the Lord, and we have to, one of us has to make a decision about something. We'll do it. And the other would submit. We've done that before in our relationship. So
yeah, especially over a lot of small things, like, hey, I think I'm supposed to do this, or you're supposed to do that.
Big things too. We've done that for other things.
But I do think that one of the things that's gifted us is we have a mutual relationship with the Lord, where we pray together, we spend time with the Lord together. We talk. I'll say, "What's the Lord teaching you?" You'll ask me the same thing. But then the one of the most important thing is I think we also have our individual relationships with the Lord, and I think that that's key. Like you spend time with God when I'm not there, and I spend time with the Lord when you're not there, and I think that is a big piece, because we're both not only lifting the cord of three, but we're also have our direct relationship with the God. And that's where God speaks to me a lot like, you have an attitude, Nicole. Like,
She doesn't very often, but yeah.
But anyway. I do sometimes. I thought, you're so good to me. You just stay away for a day, and then you're like, she'll be better tomorrow. But
yeah, I think every guy knows that one. So.
But I do think that we should talk about on here, but not today. We'll talk about it next time. Is talking about. There's two more things I kind of want to talk about. One being communication, and
it's a big one.
It's a big one. I think we do that pretty well. I think we can share some tidbits on that.
Yeah.
I also think, I don't know, just tossing out some other topics that we could talk about. One being when to let go and when to engage. I think a lot of people engage in a lot of things that are a waste of time in their relationship, or they let go of things that they should be engaging in relationships. And because I'll be honest with you, we've never had a fight, like a big fight.
A big blowout fight?
No. I mean, we had disagreements for sure, but we've never had a blowout fight. Ever. And I think that has been a lot of learning when to let go and when we should engage in this so that way it doesn't become something bigger later. But anyways, we're going to talk about all that later when I get him to not be at work and have time to sit here and chat with me. But maybe you have some other topics you'd love to hear. If so,
let us know.
Let us know. And we'll just spend a couple weeks here in February talking about relationships.
Sounds good.
All right. Until next time.
Bye.